we got one of our favorite folks on board here this morning. The music director of the Florida Orchestra, Michael Francis, is in the studio, which means, of course, along with him, an entourage of bright lights and cameras and everything else here. Plus, this, by the way, is going to be on Facebook. We got Aaron over here Facebooking that as we speak. But welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Lovely to be back, Jack. Lovely to see you again, Ted. I know it's just exhausting being famous. I mean, everywhere I go, sometimes you just get so tired of it. But anyway.
And by the way, your English is getting better and better.
Thank you very much. May I say how fresh you're both looking? Then you obviously went to bed reasonably early and didn't stay up to watch the final denouement of the Cubs' victory last night.
I was in bed early last night.
I like that. The ultimate denouement.
I know. My French is better before 8 in the morning.
Yeah, people that slept in too late didn't get the denouement, so we're giving the denouement all morning here. So what have you got coming up?
Well, first of all, it was lovely to see you, Jack, at a rehearsal recently.
We had a great time. I took my wife, and it just happened, perchance, that you were doing Ode to Joy, which is my wife's name, Ode.
Yes.
Ode Harris. No, I'm sorry. It's Joy Harris.
Yes, we were rehearsing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. We had a tremendous opening weekend, 3 sold-out halls in Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater. It was a tremendous occasion, great atmosphere in the hall, and a real buzz. I think maybe our best opening weekend ever. So I was thinking for you that if you hadn't already proposed all those years ago, that would have been the spot for you, Jack, to say, "Ode to Joy, well, Joe, this is all for you." I planned this in advance.
After
and
30
dozen
years,
roses could have come
late.
down.
Yeah. You should have done it 30 years ago. You weren't even born.
His vows.
Exactly, yes, you should have done that.
Now, that would have worked. Well, she got embarrassed because you recognized us from the podium down there. She said, "Oh, my goodness." She gets flustered. She doesn't like to go out with me.
I'm sorry about that. See, you're too famous, you see. You're too famous.
But that was good. We had a great time, though.
Yeah, it was great.
And we got a little backstage tour and everything. It was fantastic.
Yes, and actually, when you really hear music live, and you hear the choir all at full pelt in a piece like that, and the orchestra going as well, it's just one of the most thrilling occasions. I mean, I get goosebumps conducting, and I always remember when I go to concerts, I have the same feeling, the same emotion. Something about live music is just so extraordinary, and that we all listen and we all watch together. And it's watching an orchestra, not just listening. It is a thrilling, incredible experience, and I welcome all of you to come along.
That's what boggles my mind when I watch, and I've done it several times now. Aaron and I were there, and is the skills of these people that are involved. I mean, you stop them, and they do everything you say, and it's like you've been doing this for 50 years every day, every moment.
Well, I am part Jedi, so that would probably be it as well. But no, I wish it was that. I mean, the orchestra are wonderfully talented people, and of course they've been training for decades, many of them. To become an orchestral musician, a lot of them start age 5 and may train for 20 years before they get a job. If you think doctors have a long sort of gestation period of study, well, musicians have far longer. So they're incredibly skilled people who care passionately about what they do. And when they're on the stage, they want to give their very, very best for Tampa Bay. And they do.
Oh, they do that. But it's just watching them with their particular skills, how good they are. I mean, the violinists and the trumpeters and the drum guys coming up there, and we see them stand up and say, "Uh-oh, we're getting ready for a big thing," and the cymbals.
Yes, whenever you see the percussion standing up, you know you're in for trouble. Bit of ears splitting, turning it up to 11, all that stuff. Yeah.
But what's going to be coming up next?
Well, we actually have 2 Masterworks weeks back to back. I'll be conducting them. The first one is celebrating the music of perhaps the greatest genius in all art, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Mozart.
Yeah, and his final symphony he wrote at the grand old age of 32. He wrote 3 symphonies in 9 weeks. And this, I would say, the last movement of the Jupiter Symphony, for me, is one of the top 5 moments in art. It is just incomparably wonderful. So if you haven't ever heard something like this live, I really recommend you to come along. First up, we're looking at music of Stravinsky and Prokofiev, 2 Russian composers. from the 20th century, but really wonderful. For Stravinsky, this piece, his Symphony in C, is very powerful because it was during a terrible year in his life. He lost both his daughters, one aged 30, one aged 24, and his mother in the same year. But he wrote this piece, and he deliberately wrote it so that you couldn't feel his pain in it. He wrote this very uplifting, joyous piece. And Mozart actually also lost one of his children during the year that he wrote the Jupiter Symphony. But what's powerful about music is that it really helps the composers come through these terrible experiences. And actually it provides a sense of life for all of us, because we all have trials and different things. And when you get a chance to hear how wonderful the music is, despite the trouble the composer was going through, well, it gives all of us hope. And I think hope is a very positive thing.
That's one of the things you get at the concerts, if you come early and all of that stuff, is you get tutorial here, like you give us on the radio.
I do, yes. Before the concerts, so if the concert's at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock we give a pre-concert talk in which I will discuss with Ed Parsons, our general manager, all the pieces, and we'll give musical examples. We want you just to be able to listen deeper, if you want. And then sometimes from the podium, during the concert, I may offer a few words as well, just to sort of guide some listening and help people through some other pieces. I just want people to have a deepest experience as they possibly can.
I heard, of course, I do the commercials and everything and talk about Mozart and Motown. That's quite a contrast.
Well, that just sums up what the Florida Orchestra is about, the fact that we can pair those two together. So the week afterwards, we do a concert all about the songs of the sea. But following that, we then have Great American Pops, which is a mixture of sort of Boston Pops type concert with John Williams and all sorts. Yeah. So that just shows the variety and the talent of these musicians who can switch between styles very easily. I would say that the orchestra, the Masterworks concerts, are a great opportunity to bring your family, all children between 5 and 18, though you can't call 18-year-olds children, I suppose. No. They wouldn't like it. Well, 17. They come for free.
Sure.
Well, you can get all the information by going to floridaorchestra.org, floridaorchestra.org, and that's we're cranking it up here now with, next week, 11th to 13th, and this is the Songs of the Sea and everything. But they've got all the information, the schedule, and what you do to get tickets and everything. And, Michael, thanks for stopping by and bringing the entourage again.
Always a pleasure, Michael.
Great pleasure, and go White Sox. Well done.
Yeah. Hey, keep working on that English. It's 18 minutes after 7. We go to let's go to the Storm Team 8 Weather Center and